is your relationship with time? Are you wired and tired, stressed and overwhelmed, busy and going nowhere? Or just want to scale your business? Welcome to Take Back Time with your host, Penny Zenker. Penny focuses on books, strategies, tools, and tips to help you work smarter and approach your time more strategically. As a result, you can have more energy, focus, and get more done in less time. Be more efficient and effective. Get ready to take back time.
So hello and welcome to Take Back Time. My name is Penny Zenker and I'm your host. And today we have Frank Buck with us, who is a time management extraordinaire. He's a public speaker, and easy for me to say, coach and writer. And he's the author of Get Organized, Time Management for School Leaders, and also for you who's listening, not just for school leaders. So we're going to talk more about that book today. And Dr. Buck helps busy professionals achieve their goals through organization and time management. And he was named the Global Guru's Top 30 in the area of time management for 2017 and 2018. So congratulations and welcome, Frank.
Thank you, Penny. I am delighted to be here with you this afternoon.
Well, you know, great minds think alike, right? We both have a keen interest in helping people to be more productive and to be more organized and think more strategically. And so it's going to be fun to pick your brain a bit.
Absolutely. Well, same here. Yeah, two minds of the same accord here.
Absolutely. So let's talk about your book a little bit. You know, Get Organized. First of all, just the topic right there, like, has people like shivering in their boots because you know, people just don't like the thought of having to get themselves organized. Where do you think that comes from?
The fear that it's going to be hard, that it's going to be just totally overwhelming. You know, I've tried before, I just can't do it. So, you know, people have that fear. But yet every January, I'm going to lose weight and I'm going to get organized. Those are your two biggies. And then somehow the next January, they're still everybody's two biggies. But the thing is, it's so easy to do if you have a system to do it.
So tell us about that. So is that something that you reveal in your book as a good system that people can use to get organized?
Yes. If we look at what makes my book different from a lot of the other time management, organization, productivity books that are out there, I'm really nuts and bolts. I don't think people want more theory and people saying, well, you know, getting organized, time management, it's important. You need to do it. They want to know how. What do I do today? What's the first thing that I do? Another thing that I think makes this book different, my background is education, and my doctorate was in the principalship, school leadership. My doctoral dissertation was actually on time management. So as I'm doing all this research, I'm finding there's a whole lot written for the business world, but not much geared toward school people. So
interesting, right? You need it right from the beginning.
Yeah. So, you know, I started going the other way. Let me write something. Let me do a dissertation, which then, you know, eventually turned into the book and full day seminar, that sort of thing. Let's sort of start with education, but it can relate to everyone else. So for people who are out there, you know, if you're a school principal, the book's going to be right down your alley. If you're a teacher, it's going to be right down your alley because you're also a school leader. But if you're an attorney, if you're an insurance salesman, if you're a nurse, we're all dealing with email, voicemail, interruptions. How do I get done everything I have to get done in a world of far too much to do? And the vignettes, they may talk about teachers and principals, but the principles that are in there apply to everybody.
Absolutely. I can imagine. I mean, because they're the same challenges. It can totally be cross-contextual.
Yes.
So, you know, you talk about digital task lists, and I know that you're big with Evernote, and I'm a big fan of Evernote too and use that. So tell us a little bit about using the digital task list and how we do that and why Evernote.
Okay. Back before the turn of the millennium, I was the biggest paper planner person in the world. Yeah, you saw my day timer. And people were amazed at how I kept everything in that one little book. But then I started realizing so much is coming to me digitally, especially in terms of email. And when you get 3 emails a day, you can print them out and put them on your desk. When you're getting 103 a day, you're going to need something more. So I started realizing, since so much is coming to me digitally, I need a system that's going to allow digital stuff to stay digital. So in 2001, I bought a Palm. Remember the Palm? The
Oh, yeah,
graffiti,
I had
the
a
little
Palm.
stylus. Yeah.
Yeah.
So bought a Palm, synced it to Outlook, and set the book aside. So it just sort of held my nose and jumped. And overnight, I've got my calendar, my task list, my contacts, all on the Palm, synced to Evernote. And then over the years, then it was the BlackBerry, wonderful device, synced to Outlook. And now I use an Android and wanted to go to an all cloud base. So it's my productivity suite is Google Calendar, Google Contacts, Gmail, Evernote for my notes, and Remember the Milk for my tasks. Well, my email's empty every day. And people say, how do you do that?
Oh, so you're a believer in zero inbox?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Just like when I go out to the metal mailbox in front of my house, right now it's got mail in it because I haven't gone to that mailbox today. But I'm going to make one trip to that mailbox. And when I get done, it's going to be empty. I'm not going to that mailbox and find that today's mail is on top of yesterday's mail that's on top of the mail before it, and I just read the mail and stuff it back in the mailbox. That would not work, and nobody would do something like that. But that's about how 97% of the world handles their email inbox.
That's true, but I'm going to just for a second play devil's advocate because I'm not a fan of it.
Really? Okay.
And I think it's good to have a little banter on these shows because there might be some people who can appreciate either perspective. So my challenge with that and advising people on that is that it's okay if you get, 5 pieces of mail. Like you said earlier, if it's 3, you can print it out and have it on your desk. If you do get 103 pieces of mail, is it the wisest thing to be looking and spending time on things that aren't appropriate for you? So I am an advocate of having an admin or somebody support you or automation that keeps things out of your inbox, right? So that way you have fewer things that are coming in and then potentially you're working on everything. And of course, if you've got a good filing system, then you can take what's in your inbox and file it. However, I know that people who have already hectic looking inboxes, that for them to get to inbox 0 and with the amount that they have coming in, it creates more stress and puts all their time and effort and focus on working their email versus working with what's important in their goals.
And that's the fear that people have. But I wish people could have been looking over my shoulder when I'm in the office of a financial person with a school system, and she shows me the 52,000 emails that are in her email inbox. And when I walked out of her office, she had 2, not 2,000.
Right.
2. 1, 2. And so here's what we did. We looked at her email and I asked her this question. I said, how many of the emails that are in that email inbox are sitting there because the reminders are places that you need to be? And so we created calendar events. She was on Google Calendar and she was on Gmail. We clicked the 3 dots. We said, create event. Boom. It's now a calendar event. And she can now delete that email. And then we said, all right, now how many of these things are sitting here because they're reminders of things that you have to do? So we had set up for her a digital task list that she could forward emails to. So that, that email that you're sitting there and you're looking at it every day because it's something you need to do 2 weeks from now. What if it got gone and then showed up 2 weeks from now? So we just forward it, put a date on it. It's sitting now over there on her digital task list with the entire body of the email message sitting in the little notes section of that task. And so then we're looking at, all right, now what's here? Because it's just good reference information. Well, either forward that to Evernote or forward it to Google Drive or whatever your note-taking system is. And then what we're left with is all of those emails. And for her, thousands of emails. And I hear this over and over and over. I can't get rid of these because I might need them again. So I said, we're going to archive them. So I showed her how to archive, and 52,000 emails in 5 minutes were archived. And now she's sitting there with the 2 brand new emails that had just come in. And for most people, what it is in that email inbox is I just don't want to get rid of it. I might need it again. So the little archive routine in Gmail, or if I'm using Outlook, back during those days, I just have one little folder named Just in Case. So I just drug things over to the Just in Case folder. A magazine executive who had over 60,000 emails in his inbox. We created him a little Just in Case folder, just drug it all over there so that emails that are left in my email inbox represent things I have yet to make a decision on. Because sometimes when it's, late afternoon, evening, and one comes in, you go, I don't even want to think about that. Well, fine. I can leave that to in the morning. But what I'm seeing is 2 or 3 or 4 rather than 40,000, of which the 4 or 5 I need to do something about, or the 4 or 5 sitting at the top that by midday are now at the bottom of the first screen. And by the end of the day are 3 screens down. And I'm going, where's the needle in that haystack that I need to do something about? So I know there are different camps of thoughts, but I'm definitely the empty email inbox, that decisions have been made on everything. It's not that everything's done, but everything's now in the right place.
Everything has a place. Well, I think that is important. And just for the people who are listening that might have like a crazy, unruly inbox, right? Those are some of the first places they can start, right? I like how you said that. Anything, it's reminders of where you need to be, then you can create an event. If it's a reminder of what you need to do, you can put it in a to-do list. You can also put them in folders, right? And so lots of different ways. I've got a ton of different folders for clients, folders for projects, folders for different things so that I can archive them. And when I need to address or get to anything from that project, I know exactly where they are.
And Penny, I think there's another place where we do things a little bit differently. I know people that have, especially in Outlook, that they have a lot of folders, and it's, do I put it in this folder or do I put it in that folder? And if they drag it to the wrong folder, it's lost. So I'm an advocate of you have one folder for those things that you just want to hang on to just in case, because then you can just simply search for it by person or by subject or by date instead of having to go to the folder. And of course, with folders, something can only be in one folder at a time. But when you're searching, you can search in various ways. Let me see all the emails from John Jones.
Right.
Let me see all the emails that came in during this month. Let me see all the emails that have this particular word in them.
Right. So, there's lots of different searching systems. There's lots of different ways that people are comfortable working. But I think the main thing that I want listeners to take away is to have a process, is to clearly think about it ahead of time and have a process of how you're going to work through email or work through any of the things that you need to do, right? And be able to set priorities. So
exactly.
We can agree to disagree with the
exactly
one way to do things or another way, because there are so many different ways and each of us has a different work style.
Yeah.
And
there are a lot of things that work.
Yes.
And the important thing is to really think it through.
Yes.
Think things through and be consistent. And one thing, Penny, that I've learned over the years, when people say, Frank, were you always organized? And going back to senior year of high school, that's my first recollection of having a true time management or organization system that I could explain to someone else. This is what I do. And so over the years, I'm 59 now, so a lot of water has gone across the dam. And so, there have been those times where, I changed the system. Every few years you change the system. I don't care what I changed to, it would work great at first. But then, that's not working so much anymore. So that changed the system again, and it would work great. And after a while, I realized what I was doing when I was changing the system was, first, I was cleaning up my stuff. And the system worked because I was working with clean stuff. So at some point, I realized, Frank, you don't need to change your system anymore. You just need to keep it clean.
Yeah.
And so that's the thing that when people say
consistency is really the hardest thing for people.
And I just love it when people talk, I can't wait to get my new planner, and they hold that planner and it looks pristine and all the pages are blank, and they write that first thing in that planner and they're thinking, this year is going to be so much different. I've got this brand new planner. It's not all ugly and like last year's was. Well, you just wait a few months because if the practices don't change, it's going to be just as ugly as the other one was. I want to see the person that goes, I hate to get that next year's planner because, man, the one I've got right now that has served me so well and it's pristine and I can find anything in there that I want to. That's the person I want to talk to.
Distractions are the enemy of productivity. Go to distractionquiz.com and find out your distraction profile. Are you a time zombie or a hamster? Take this free distraction quiz today to rate your ability to focus on what keeps you from being a wizard. Go to distractionquiz.com.
So tell me, you mentioned Evernote earlier. So why Evernote?
Well, I'll confess I'm an Evernote certified consultant. And so I don't talk about I like Evernote because I'm an Evernote certified consultant. I'm an Evernote certified consultant because I really like Evernote, really wanted to learn more about it, make sure I was getting everything I could from it. So I went through the training to get that certification. Back when I changed from Outlook to an all cloud-based system, back in the Outlook days, I was keeping reference information in Outlook notes. There would be things in there like it might be favorite recipes, or it might be back in the days before we had Google Maps that made it so easy to get from point A to point B. Here was a note that had directions to my school that I could just email to people. So little things that I wanted to have at hand and didn't want to create like a Word document or something. I kept those in the Outlook notes. So when I went to an all cloud-based system, it was Evernote to hold what I had been doing there. And to that point, I really had not been using Evernote much because I didn't understand it. It was explained to me like this. Evernote will let you organize your reference information. And I said, I don't need it. My information is organized. I've got little file folders inside file folders inside file folders on my computer. I was looking at my computer as being the center of my digital world.
Right.
And then people said, well, but you can get to it from anywhere. And I said, well, thank you very much, but I have Dropbox. So anything I want to get to from anywhere, I can just put it in Dropbox. See, I didn't get it. I didn't understand. What I wasn't realizing was two things. First of all, our computers have nice little folder systems, and our mobile devices don't have that good file structure. It's getting better. It's getting much better now.
Mm-hmm.
And second, we're so dependent now on our mobile devices as far as being able to not only access things from anywhere, but change them from anywhere and share them from anywhere. So even if you can open a document on your phone, can you change it? Can you share it? Does it all sync back? And that gets a little more dicey. With Evernote, it was like falling off a log. So the kind of thing that really iced it for me was realizing that I could take a picture. And we're great about this. We use our phones differently. We use that camera much differently. We're out somewhere and we snap a picture of something that we want to remember, and it goes in the camera roll right along there with the picture from that wild party you went to last night. Well, with Evernote, as you well know, you snap a picture and you can put a title, you can put it in a particular notebook, you can put more than one picture in that note. If there's some audio that needs to be included in there, you hit another button, you record the audio, it's part of the same note. You can type any text you want. It becomes part of the same note. And I'm thinking, I don't have anything that does what this does. So that's when I really started using Evernote to its
It's a very powerful tool. You can even do task lists in Evernote because you have a little ability.
Yeah, you
How
can.
come you use a separate tool for that? Use what is it?
Well, I use Remember the Milk. I think of it this way: let the singers sing and the dancers dance.
Okay.
For me, Evernote is reference information for the most part. And my digital task list is for those things that need to be done. Now, there are a lot of things that move from one to the other. If I'm working on a project in Remember the Milk, it's got a number of steps. I now have all those steps completed. I can print a little PDF to send right over to Evernote that, here are all the notes and all the subtasks that were part of that project. So it's moved from this project is now completed. There's no more action. This now becomes reference information. Much as during the Outlook days, I would be working on an involved project. And then when it was completed, I would just drag it over to the notes module. There are some people that use Evernote as their task list, but things like repeating tasks. I'm very big on using repeating tasks. And in Evernote, you don't have that feature.
Oh, gotcha.
That's probably the biggest single thing. And those things that need to be done sometime in the future. If it was just simply, here's a list of all the things I need to be doing now, yeah, you could do it in Evernote just as well as anything else. But what about those things that I cannot do or should not do until next week, next month? Renewing my driver's license. I'm not going to have to worry about, is my driver's license going to expire? Because about a month before it does, a couple of years from now, a little task is going to show up saying, driver's license expires in a month.
So you have all your tasks in that application and not directly in your calendar? Or do they sync with your calendar?
Exactly. And I think that's another important point. My calendar is where I am, period. And when I ask people, do you keep your tasks digitally? The ones that say yes, when we start to peel back that onion, most of the people, they come down to one of two things. I keep my tasks in my calendar because I just don't have a better place to put it. Or I use that little yellow legal pad looking thing in my iPhone, which is great for the grocery list for this afternoon. But as far as the thing you got to do 2 weeks from now, or the thing that you have to do on the first Tuesday of every month, that's where it all falls apart. So I'm a big one on, again, let the singers sing, let the dancers dance. Mm-hmm. My calendar is where I am. My task list these are the things that I need to do. I want to do these Monday morning. 9 o'clock is fine. 9:15 is fine. 10:15 is fine. Just sometime during that part of the day. And my task list works great for that. Everything gets a due date. It's sorted by due date. And then within that, I have a secondary sort on priority. So the things that I want to do in the morning, high priority, afternoon, medium, evening, low priority. And if something doesn't get done that day, I don't have to drag it over to the next day on my calendar or constantly look back at past calendar days. It just rolls over to the next day. So I never have to rewrite anything. I never have to drag anything anywhere else.
Absolutely.
And my calendar stays so clean.
So there we have it. That is why you are organized and teaching people how to be organized. So tell us, for the people who are out there who think that's all well and good, but I don't even know where to start. Like, these are great suggestions, but where do I start? What would you tell them?
Okay. All right. Well, let me kind of put in a quick plug for myself, because this is actually going to give people things they can use. On my website, which is just my name, frankbuck.org. So not .com, but .org, frankbuck.org. And right on the homepage, right under my picture, people can click to get on my mailing list. Well, the first thing you get is like chapter 1 of my book that shows you how to get your desk clean. And then the next little gift you get shows you how to set up Remember the Milk. So let me give people who are going, I got paper all over my desk. Let me take you back to the mid-'60s with something I learned from my dad. Mm-hmm. He was an attorney in a one-man shop. So don't think of anything that you've seen on TV with big law firm. No, he was his own secretary, his own bookkeeper, his own everything. So I'm an 8-year-old kid. I'm hanging out at his office during the summer because in Alabama, it's hot. Mm-hmm. His office was air conditioned, which was not ubiquitous back in the 60s. The first thing he always did was open this one filing cabinet drawer, and inside that drawer were simply files labeled 1, 2, 3, 4, up to 31, each one representing a day of the month. So if it was the 15th day of the month, he pulled out file number 15, and in there, it was like his whole day was in that folder. Mm-hmm. There were papers related to all the people who were coming to see him that day. They would make notes on those packets of papers. They would set a next appointment. And at the end of the day, the person coming back on the 2nd of next month, their packet went in folder number 2 and so forth. His desk, again, is empty at the end of the day. I thought my dad invented that system. Of course, you and I know it's an old business tool called the tickler file. So for the people out there that are, I've got to get on top of the paperwork, that's where I teach people to start. Get a milk crate and some hanging file folders, label them 1 through 31. That'll handle anything happening the next 31 days. And then behind that, 12 more folders, January, February, March. Let's label them with the names of the month. So all the paper that's laying on your desk, because you're going to need it at some time in the future, ask the question, when do I want to see this again? And put it in the appropriate folder. So those tickets to the concert that are on your desk, and the concert's 3 weeks from Tuesday. And so you've got them laying on your desk going, I can't lose these. I can't lose them. And then they get stuff piled on them. And then you walk out the door and with no tickets. No, take them and drop them in the file for the date that concert is happening. Gosh, there are so many applications. I'll tell you what, I buy birthday cards one time a year. And I sit down and I address all the birthday cards at one time, print the labels out, put them on there, put the return address stickers on there, where the postage stamp is going to go, put the date it needs to go in the mail. Now, people say, no, that's not going to work. You're going to have this big stack of cards that just, Well, I take one more step. Drop them in the tickler
you
files.
Put them in the folder. There you go.
And so, I'm watching probably one TV program handling my birthday cards for the whole year, dropping them in the tickler file, and then I earn the right to forget about it. And here's the thing. People think I'm so thoughtful because I remember their birthday. Penny, I'm not any more thoughtful than anybody else. It's just there are a whole bunch of thoughtful people out there that miss birthdays because they just don't have a system to organize them, or go into that card shop to get one card on the way home from work after you've spilled coffee on yourself and the traffic is a mess and your boss got on you and this, that, and the other, and you just go, oh, forget it.
Right.
So with having a good system, the thing about a system is it makes it easy enough you'll actually do it.
Absolutely.
That's a lot.
Systems are so important. And I've never heard that one, that people write them out in the beginning of the year for the whole year. That's pretty cool. I do it a little differently, but I like that. I think it's important that we explore other people's systems and different systems to hear what they do and try them on and see how they fit. So I think that's an interesting way to approach it. And then, of course, you don't forget. So thanks for sharing that.
Yes. That has worked for so many people.
Absolutely. It sounds like a great system. So we're coming to the end of our time here. So what is the biggest takeaway that you really want somebody to walk away from today's show?
Have a system, work the system, stay with the system. And when you want to junk the system, first clean the system up.
So it's all about the system.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much, Frank, for being here and for sharing just a few nuggets out of the many that you've got available. And I urge people to, really go and check out Frank's website and get on his newsletter. That's frankbuck.org. And Frank, thanks for being here.
Penny, it was a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
And thank you all for listening, because without you, we wouldn't be here. And we appreciate that with every week that you get another expert in their space who's sharing their wisdom, their knowledge, and the systems that they've created that make things work. So thanks for listening, and go ahead and apply at least one thing that you learned today. Start with just one that's going to make a big difference. Why don't we start with the desk? Start with your desk, get your desk clean, and then you can tackle that email box. So we'll see you in the next episode. This is Penny Zanker with Take Back Time.
Thank you for listening. Today's topic is another opportunity for you to put the knowledge you learned into practice. Tune in again next week for more strategies that will help you have more energy and focus to get more done in less time, so you can continue to take back time.